Maple Leafs Nation, are you feeling that familiar knot in your stomach? That potent mix of anxiety and fervent hope that only the promise of a truly game-changing move can bring? Because right now, the future of our beloved franchise isn't just being debated, it's being reforged in the white-hot crucible of trade speculation. Two distinct visions, two potential blockbusters, each promising to redefine our defense, our leadership, and the very soul of this team. If you're a true Leaf fan and don't want to miss a single detail of this unfolding saga, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. Because here, you'll always stay on top of what could transform the destiny of our team. The summer of 2025 is drawing to a close, but in the NHL universe, the market never sleeps, and in Toronto, that feeling is even stronger. Business never stops when it comes to the Maple Leafs, a franchise that has been searching for years for that perfect combination of offensive talent, defensive solidity, and the long-awaited chemistry that could finally break the curse and bring them back to glory. Today, we dive into a trade proposal that has recently gained significant traction and could redefine the team's immediate future. Bowen Byram to the Maple Leafs. But as with every big deal, there's a price to pay. What does it mean to lose names like Brandon Carlo, Nick Robertson, and Kaye Jarnkrok to make room for this move? That's what we're going to analyze in detail. The scenario gaining significant traction suggests the Leafs will receive Bowen Byram, a young, immensely talented defenseman with the ability to move the puck and turn defense into attack in a matter of seconds. In return, the Buffalo Sabres would gain immediate depth with Brandon Carlo, Nick Robertson, and Kaye Jarnkrok. On one hand, Toronto would finally get the dynamic defenseman they've been looking for, someone capable of easing the load on Morgan really and expanding the team's transition game. On the other, Buffalo would gain immediate defensive solidity with Carlo, potentially forming a robust pair alongside Rasmus Dahlin, plus Robertson and Jarnkrok strengthening the offense. Byram is only 24 years old, but he already carries the weight of being a first-round pick, 4th overall, in the 2019 draft by the Colorado Avalanche. At 6 feet 1 inch and 205 pounds, he combines size with mobility, a rare and coveted trait in young defensemen. Last season with the Buffalo Sabres, he played all 82 games, recording 38 points and averaging an impressive 22 minutes and 42 seconds on the ice per game. Those numbers speak volumes. Physical consistency to endure the heavy schedule and the coaching staff's unwavering trust in him to handle decisive moments, whether on the power play or in critical 5-on-5 situations. When we think of comparisons, Byram resembles a hybrid between Quinn Hughes and Devon Toews. He doesn't yet possess Hughes' elite offensive vision, but he already shows the same fluidity with the puck. And defensively, he has a solidity similar to Toews, with the potential to become even more dominant as he matures. But every star comes at a cost, and in Toronto's case, the price would be giving up 3 important pieces, each with different stories and profiles. Brandon Carlo, the 28-year-old defenseman, standing at 6 feet 5 inches and 220 pounds, is practically the stylistic opposite of Byram. A classic stay-at-home defenseman, physical, strong in front of the net, and reliable on the penalty kill. He arrived from the Boston Bruins in March 2025 and last season recorded 12 points in 83 games, averaging 18.53 of ice time per game. He doesn't bring flash, but he provides security. For Buffalo, pairing Carlo with Dahlin would balance fire and ice, offensive aggression with defensive stability. Then there's Nick Robertson, the 23-year-old forward at 5 feet 9 inches and 176 pounds. Perhaps the most intriguing piece in the deal, drafted 53rd overall in 2019, he always carried the expectation of being a raw diamond, but opportunities in Toronto were limited. In 2024-25, he recorded 22 points in 69 games, plus 2 points in 3 playoff appearances. However, in the Leafs' offensive rotation, he never had real space to shine. In Buffalo, his chance would be much bigger, as the Sabres notably lack impact wingers in their top 6. Finally, Kaye Jarnkrok, a 33-year-old veteran with an affordable $2.1 million contract, is that versatile player every coach loves. He can play on any line, brings experience and tactical discipline. He won't be the game's hero, but he's the type of player who fills gaps, handles pressure, and helps young talent develop. Analyst James Myrtle from The Athletic had already pointed out the Leafs' 6 solid defensemen, but noted a crucial lack of a puck mover beyond Really. With Chris Tanev, Jake McCabe, Ekman Larsson, and Carlo, the defense is reliable but predictable. What's missing is someone to speed up the game and break lines with vertical passes or quick exits. Byram would be exactly that profile. The question is it worth giving up Carlo and losing the defensive robustness he provides? Meanwhile, according to insider David Pagnotta, the Sabres are still considering moving Byram even after renewing his contract for 2 years. The reason? Their ongoing search for a top 6 forward. That's where Robertson and Jarnkrok come in. While they are not established stars, both will get more minutes in Buffalo than they ever would in Toronto. And for a team looking for offensive identity beyond Tage Thompson, this might be the necessary gamble. If the trade happens, Toronto gains a young defenseman who could be a central piece for the next decade, forming a dynamic core with Really and Ekman Larsson. This could finally free up the offense to work with more fluidity without carrying so much defensive burden. On the other hand, Buffalo would strengthen its back end with Carlo and also give Robertson the stage to prove he can be a legitimate top 6 winger. Who would benefit more? Toronto betting on potential or Buffalo betting on immediate depth? This is the essence of every big trade in the NHL. Potential versus stability, promise versus security. Is it worth the risk? That's the question that will echo through the halls of Toronto and Buffalo until a decision is made. Now let's shift gears. The summer of 2025 has brought an almost obsessive narrative in Toronto. Who will replace Mitch Marner? All the talk revolved around bringing in a top 6 forward to share responsibilities with Austin Matthews, someone who can restore the offensive depth the team has lost. But while the public's eyes are fixed on the attack, some argue for a different approach. What if the priority wasn't scoring more goals, but instead making the Leafs defense even more intimidating, solid, and capable of protecting Morgan Really, who is already showing signs of possible regression? This is where analyst Cole Shelton's bold proposal comes in. He suggests that the Maple Leafs make a trade, sending Oliver Ekman Larsson and a 2028 third-round pick to the Anaheim Ducks in exchange for Radko Gudas, the current captain of the California team. At first glance, it may seem unlikely. After all, it's not every day a team parts with its captain. But looking deeper, from both Toronto's and Anaheim perspectives, the move makes a surprising amount of sense. The logic is simple. The Leafs need a vocal leader, someone capable of rallying the troops when the pressure rises and the team threatens to lose its composure. Gudas would not only add physicality, but also bring a locker room presence that Toronto has yet to find, even after taking chances on players like Ryan Reeves. Reeves was signed to add grit, but he never managed to provide real impact offensively or defensively, ending up stuck in an almost symbolic role. Gudas, on the other hand, has already proven to be much more than just an enforcer. The 35-year-old defenseman has 13 NHL seasons under his belt and a solid reputation as one of the toughest players in the league. He has 3,580 career hits, an average of 235 per season, along with 114 block shots on average. In other words, he is the kind of nightmare any opponent dreads facing. And unlike Reeves, Gudas can actually play. He has accumulated 198 points in 829 games, showing that he is far from being a one-dimensional player. Gudas' impact goes beyond the numbers. Ducks general manager Pat Verbeek himself has highlighted that Gudas represents the mentality of a true professional on and off the ice. By naming him captain, Verbeek emphasized his work ethic, his ability to guide a young group, and his importance as a mentor in Anaheim, which is in full rebuild mode. It makes sense to have such a figure to prepare the next generation of leaders. But at the same time, precisely because they are rebuilding, the team might consider parting with a 35-year-old veteran to gain future assets like a draft pick and a still useful defenseman in Ekman Larsson. From Toronto's perspective, Gudas' presence could transform the blue line. Imagine a defense built as follows. Morgan Really paired with Radko Gudas, Jake McCabe alongside Chris Tanev, and Simon Benoit with Brandon Carlo. That group would be a wall. With Gudas at his side, Really would have a freedom to push more offensively, knowing there's someone behind him who will block, hit, intimidate, and protect. For Coach Craig Berube, who values physical intensity and players who don't shy away from contact, Gudas seems like a perfect fit. Of course, there's risk. We're talking about a veteran player with a history of occasional injuries, and a style of play that often puts him on the edge of penalties. But maybe this is exactly the kind of calculated risk Toronto needs to take. After years of betting on offensive talent and falling short in decisive moments, why not try a different path? Why not bet on a veteran leader who brings voice, presence, and respect? Something the team seems to have lost since Marner's departure. To many, this trade would have more psychological and cultural impact than technical. Gudas would symbolize a shift in mentality. Less glamour, more grind. Less finesse, more grit. And in a city like Toronto, where the pressure for results is immense and every loss becomes a headline, having someone who faces adversity head-on could be a game changer. In the end, the lingering question is this: is Toronto willing to give up Ekman-Larsson and a draft asset to bring in a veteran captain who may or may not stay beyond one season? For some, it may sound like too steep a gamble. For others, it's the missing piece to give identity to a team that has been trying to reinvent itself for years. So, what do you think, Leafs Nation? Which of these potential moves excites you more or perhaps worries you? Do you believe Bowen Byram is a dynamic defenseman we need, even at the cost of 3 valuable pieces? Or do you think Radko Gudas will be the leader the Maple Leafs need in this moment of transition, bringing that much-needed grit and presence? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for all the latest breaking news and analysis on your Toronto Maple Leafs. We thrive on your passion and insights